Hey everyone, welcome. Can everybody hear and see me? Let me know in the chat right below. Right below, we have a chat going on. So all you have to do is scroll right down and we're right there in the chat. So let me know if you can hear me and see me. Awesome. Awesome. I see a yes from Drama Geek. Hello. Hey, Jasmine. We got some folks in England. We got some folks from South Africa. Fantastic. I love it. All right, if you find that you are having any technical difficulties, just refresh the page. That definitely helps. So just let me know. We'll get started here in just one moment. Awesome, loud and clear, I love it. All right. Here we go, let's get started. I like starting on time. Punctuality, right, theater people? We gotta set those timers and go. Well, let me say hello and welcome everyone. My name is Jennifer Lutz. I'm gonna be your workshop guide today. First, one more time, in case you're just joining us, we have a chat happening right down below. So jump right in, let us know where you're watching from. I love hearing where our folks are from. We have, it looks like just over 100 people are watching the broadcast right this moment, but only about a fraction typically participate in the chat. I only see about 30 people who have even clicked into it. So that is the place to ask questions. You can put them right in there. We have Maggie from the Theaterish team who's moderating the chat. So say hi to Maggie. Hi, Maggie. So Mags is gonna grab any questions that you have. Please feel free to just jump right in, ask those questions. We're gonna get to them at the end here. We have a jam-packed workshop today. So I'm really excited to spend the next hour with everyone. It is crammed with valuable content. So let's just go ahead and let's jump right in. Let's get started. Let's make this happen. So I'm going to switch over to my screen here. Everybody, let me know if you can see my slides. Awesome. All right. Hey, Deb. All right, so we are talking about holding amazing auditions today. And as I mentioned, my name is Jennifer Lutz, and I am the founder of Theaterish.com. And I've been involved in over 50 stage productions at this point in my life. Sometimes it feels like more, sometimes it feels like less. I've been in the audition room all the way from middle school theater to Lort. And I've seen some things, I've learned some things. So I wanna share a little bit about that with you today. You all know me from Theaterish.com. Theaterish was really founded to share the best practices in the business of theater. So you probably know us best for our templates. We have reached, I just checked, over 45,000 downloads already of our Theaterish templates. So our goal is to provide the best templates for doing the business of theater. That's so important. And I've had the privilege of receiving awesome stories from all of you about how your Theaterish templates have helped, whether it's been your first show or your millionth show. They've helped your students. They've helped brand new teachers get their theater lives organized. And I appreciate everyone's awesome feedback. So keep it coming. I love hearing it. Before we jump right into the content, I want to make sure that everyone has their phone off, close all those other tabs, get rid of those distractions. We have so much to dig into today. So it's going to be worth spending time and really diving in. Grab a pen and paper. You will want to take some notes. We're going to get specific. We're going to get real. I really want to dive in here to auditions. And one more time, if you're just joining us, get friendly in the chat. The chat box is right below us. You can type your questions into the chat, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So just enjoy, and feel free to reach out to other folks in the chat as well. All right, if you have any questions or you want to get in touch with me after the webinar, all you have to do is reach out to theaterish@gmail.com. We love hearing from folks. We are always open to questions. So I want to hear from you. And later on at the end, I'm going to show you how you're going to get the audition email templates, 9 different email templates, the audition flyer templates, and the 10 quick hits for audition promotions for free. So stick around till the end because it'll be worth picking up those templates. All right, so let's go over into the chat and tell me, I want to hear from you all. What is the biggest challenge that you face with auditions? What's the biggest challenge? I would love to hear. Some of you have already shared via email with me, but I want to hear for our folks that are live, what's going on in auditions? What is stinking up your auditions? What's hurting you? Let me know in the chat. I want to hear from you guys. We had someone reach out earlier this week and ask, I hate auditions, so how do I bring back some of the fun? And we'll talk a little bit about that. Oh yeah, getting boys to attend. Yep, that's a tough one. Maybe we can come up with some creative solutions there. Getting people to show up. Definitely, we're going to touch on that and how to grow that talent pool so that it doesn't feel like you're starting from scratch every single time. Yeah, scheduling issues, especially if you're a school and you're trying to work around other curriculum. Yeah, I understand it. Other extracurriculars, that can be a tough one. Getting people to understand what's required for auditions. Yes, people who are unprepared. We are definitely going to talk about that. I have a really interesting process that I use for my auditions that really changed the game in terms of preparation. So we're going to touch on that. Pre-qualification of who we want to see and best workflows for remote teams. I love that. Brad, that's a great point. We're definitely going to talk about the digital audition process because that is huge. That is how I run auditions from now on. Ooh, giving kids enough opportunities to see their abilities. Yeah, how do you create when you're in an education environment, how do you make auditions teachable moments and not criticism? We're definitely going to talk through that. Awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to move on here to the next question. Have you ever cast someone who is awesome or great in auditions, but ends up being just terrible in their role? They bring it when it comes to auditions. They are amazing, and but it's just terrible in the role. It's not working. Yeah, let me know if this is you, if you've done this. I know that I have done this for sure. I saw what I thought was a spark in the audition, saw some awesome talent. And then when it gets to rehearsal process, they peaked at auditions. That was it. That's all they did. Yeah, thanks for Anon, I totally agree. It definitely happens. So if this is you, we're going to definitely talk about this as well. It's it's like that casting remorse thing. Yeah, I've had to let people go as well, and it stinks. It's not fun, but you want to make sure that you're casting the right people for the role. So we'll be talking about that. And then let me ask everyone, are you regularly reviewing how you're doing auditions for greater impact? Maybe you are, maybe you're taking time to go through and defining, what brings out great talent in your auditionees and in your actors, or are you kind of doing the same thing over and over and hoping for better results? Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that. Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you guys in the chat. Awesome. Amy, rarely, I think, when it comes to auditioning. That's awesome. Good for you. All right. So let me know if this sounds like you. You want to be able to hold auditions without having to manage the whole process. I know how this goes from working in community theaters, working in schools. Sometimes you are a one-person team. So you have to be the director, the stage manager, the assistant director, the technical director, all in one. So are you having trouble managing the audition process on top of being the artistic director and visionary? Are your actors not measuring up to the performance that you saw in auditions? Do you no longer enjoy the audition process? Just straight up, is it no longer fun for you? I hear this quite a bit, that auditions are coming around, people are stressed, they don't enjoy it anymore. I used to feel that way. I feel a lot differently now about auditions. So we'll make sure that we talk about that. I literally had a teacher, Mr. Todd, he emailed me back last year, and he said, thanks for the theater production sheet. It's so helpful. We're chatting about auditions. And he says, I hate auditions. My students hate them. We all hate them. It wasn't always like this. What can we do? And I love this line. I'm open to suggestions that bring back the magic. Yes, Mr. Todd. Yeah, I feel, yeah. We're going to talk about bringing that magic back. That's going to kind of be my theme today, is bringing the audition magic back. And maybe you wish that you could wave a wand and auditions are just done. It's cast, you're ready to go on to rehearsals. So this is what you're going to learn today. Step 1 is how to set up your auditions to bring back the magic, like Mr. Todd says. What can we do so that you start enjoying the audition process? To me, the auditions, outside of the performance, the auditions are definitely some of the high points for me. It's seeing new talent. It's engaging with folks that I don't always get to engage with. It's really creative. So we're going to talk about bringing some of that magic back. I'm going to share my process to lead auditions instead of micromanaging them. Because as the director, you should not be the manager of the auditions either. And I'm going to talk about making that process totally digital. If you're working with a remote team, if you're just working with a busy team, I'm going to talk about how you can prepare your auditions in a remote environment. Minus the actors, we still have to audition our actors in person at the moment. When I come up with a better idea around that, I'll let you know, because film is not quite there yet, I think, in terms of being able to capture the potential of actors. So before we dig in, I want to share my story with you so you know how I got here, how I learned all of this stuff. We're going old school. We're throwing back some pictures. 8 years ago, I was auditioning a show as a director. That's me on stage. Maybe you can relate. I struggled with defining the best route to audition my actors. Open auditions, closed auditions, invite onlys, monologues, 16 bars of music, choreo. What should I do? I was having a hard time finding talent. And I was not getting the most of auditions during the time that I had available. This is literally me chugging a Diet Coke and then running back out on stage, running a theater camp and heading right back out. So we're going to talk about getting the most about your auditions. Casting correctly without that remorse. It's happened. When I finally started to figure out how to set up a process that let me off the hook from managing the details, I was able to get back into director's mode. And that really changed the game for me. And when I did this, I was able to cast so much better and focus my energies on the production, And I also had a system that I could use again and again when it came to auditions. I could lead auditions and not manage them. Today, I'm totally digital with the process. Again, minus the actors, but preparation, outreach, promotion, all digital. So imagine with me that feeling of being in control of the audition process, finding that best fit talent, and not only finding that, but growing your talent base as well, because that's important. I know a lot of you struggle, especially if you're in school, school theater environments, finding those boys, growing that talent base year over year as you have people who graduate. So we're going to talk about that too. So where do we start? Start with step one, how to set up your auditions and bring back the magic. Okay. So we're deep diving here. Here we go. Get that pen and paper ready. The first thing I do is I create an audition vision statement. That sounds a little hokey and a little big, but go with me on this one. I write out exactly what I want to see in my auditions. I write out what I will not accept, no matter how talented they are. And I define the most important quality that I want to see in my actors. And it varies from show to show. It is different. So this vision statement is totally about what I want to see in that audition. It's not predicting what I'll see, but it's kind of setting an expectation of what I want to see. And that really drives everything. So Laura from In Vertigo Dance, she wrote her audition statement or her audition vision statement. And I loved this. I want to share it with you all. She says, I'm looking for dancers who are fiercely good, so good that I am nervous walking into rehearsal because I know I have to live up to them. I want intelligent, curious, adventurous, hard-working people in the room with me so I don't have to work around laziness, hesitance, or small-mindedness. My dancers must bring an intriguing artistic voice and a theatrical skill. I thought that was so poetic and written so beautifully. But it really sets the stage for your expectations for your auditions. I think we need to get way more specific around what we want to see in our auditions. So this is why I craft this vision statement first. It literally sets the stage for deciphering what is great talent for my show. It's like your mission statement, that a lot of theater companies have. It really is the foundation. And I refer back to it. If I'm stuck, if I'm confused on a casting decision, if I'm confused on between two actors, who exemplified that mission statement for me? Next, I prepare my audition packet. So this is everything that I need in advance of auditions to share with my actors. That includes an audition information sheet, a rehearsal calendar, a character breakdown, and I prepare my sides and or music for callbacks. And we'll come back to that fourth one there as well. I mean, I have all this stuff set before I even announce my auditions. I have to, because it really sets the stage for the promotions that I do, all the questions I receive, the outreach that I get. I have to have those four things set already. All right. So let's talk about developing a process to lead instead of micromanaging. I have to think about every time preparing my audition flow, and there's three pieces to this. It's my team roles, my auditions, and my callbacks. I think of my auditions as locating potential, and the callbacks is honing in on a great fit. And we're going to really deep dive into those too. So let's talk about my dream scenario of the team roles that I would have if I could make anything happen. It would be the director, me. I would have an awesome stage manager. If I'm doing a musical, I want a fantastic music director, accompanist, choreographer. I want assistant directors. I want assistant stage managers, and I want a barista who can bring me my cappuccino like every other hour, just ready to go. The real life scenario, when I'm working in schools, when I'm working in community theaters, is there's the director. Sometimes there's a stage manager. There's a musical director. They're typically also the choreographer, the accompanist. And maybe if we're lucky, we'll get a choreographer, maybe a volunteer from the community. The key piece, the one that's left out that we don't push for, is those assistant stage managers. And the managers is the real spelling there, but assistant stage managers. Those are key. That's something that we can not compromise on. And I'll tell you why. And a large coffee also. We can't compromise on that large coffee. Your assistant stage managers are your logistical ninjas. No, they don't have to go by the name stage managers, assistant stage managers. They can go by the name of audition manager, audition volunteer, flow coordinator, ninja manager. This person or these people, typically there's two of them, who under the guidance of the stage manager run the flow of actors in and out of the audition room. In and out of the audition room. This is not your job as the director. You need to stay in the zone, focused on auditions. You do not need to be managing the logistics. That's why I spend the time to find, whether it's volunteers, whether it's a parent, whether it's a community member, doesn't matter, whether it's a significant other, someone to manage the flow of actors in and out, because you should definitely not be trying to move your actors in and out of that space. You need to stay focused on what's happening right in front of you and capturing your evaluations of the audition. It's not your job to move the actors in and out. And I'm going to keep repeating that. I underlined it again because it's so easy for us when we're used to wearing many hats to just kind of let it slide and keep it that way. But I'm going to tell you how much it changed the way I could run auditions when I did not have to worry about the logistical flow of actors. Exactly. ASMs are priceless. They are priceless. Let's step back and talk about auditions, because I think auditions have kind of, they've gotten pretty stale in terms of how they operate. The key to auditions, just let's peel back the layers of why we do auditions. And it really is the audition should be the gateway or the introduction to locating potential. Notice I'm not saying it's not the gateway to confirming strong talent. That's not what the audition is for. The initial audition, not the callback. The audition is the gateway to locating potential. Potential. That's it. It's very simple. Callbacks are when you hone in on role fit. When you hone in on role fit. Okay? Auditions are not callbacks, and callbacks are not auditions. Those are two specific, separate pieces. A lot of companies will audition folks and they'll jump too far into the process, and what they're really doing is setting the stage for callbacks when they're auditioning. So when you have all these things that are flying around during auditions, people are green, they're innocent, they're mature, they've not quite figured out what it means to audition yet. There's a weird power dynamic between the director and the auditionees. Like, let's admit it. It's fun in a sense that you get to be the puppet master, but you also have to take that very seriously because you can really crush people. There's this weird defense mechanism that goes on when I watch my actors interacting with each other during auditions. There's nerves, there's ego, there's peer pressure. You don't want to look stupid in your audition. There's memorization of monologues and music. And then there's the original show to live up to. I hate that because, sometimes people are just acting out what the original actors did. So all of that walks into the audition room with you. And what it does, and what you're seeing is all that, and what you're not seeing is potential. So what I do, and here's, I asked this, what's the one way to locate potential talent through this kind of audition nightmare of all these ego and nerves and, will I remember my monologue? And regardless of whether you are casting a musical, a play, whether that play is a drama, a comedy, even a dance performance. I'm going to tell you it's improvisation exercises. Now, stick with me on this one. Stick with me. I do, for my audition, I only do improvisation exercises. I do not do monologues. I do not do prepared music, even if it's a musical, because the only thing I am looking for in auditions is, do they have the potential? Can they take stage direction? Can they take direction from me? Do they have a presence? Can they just project? Can they move? Can they speak? Can they try new things? Can they work in tandem with a group? And do they have a unique point of view? That is what I am looking for in the audition. It's a lot, and the best way I found to do it is through improv exercises. Now, I want to be really clear. I'm not talking about, improv kind of has a weird, it's not comedy. I'm not looking for comedy necessarily. I'm not looking for, sketches. I'm looking for people who are willing to try. So here's how I run my auditions. I do it in 3 rounds. And sometimes this is over a period of multiple days. Maybe I have 2-3 days of auditions. And I typically even have more days of callbacks, because callbacks, we'll get to those in a minute. But when I audition my actors, they audition in groups of 6 to 10 actors. And it only takes about 20 minutes each. I've gotten this down to a science. So round 1, I bring in my first group of actors, or actually my assistant stage managers, let's be clear, they bring them in. And I ask them to warm up with me. I want to know, will they trust me to try? Will they trust me to try something? Round 2, we do an improv exercise in pairs. Can they work with a scene partner? Can they work with a group? Can they react to what they're being given in a scene? And round 3, can they follow directions and create their own point of view? If sometimes I'll use a prepared monologue or a prepared song, and I will ask them to perform it in a different way. I give them direction, altering what I'd like to see. So they've come in, they've memorized it, and I hate that. I don't want to see a performance at auditions. I want to see potential. Potential over performance every time. So here's exactly what I do. Round 1, we do a warm-up. I ask them to walk across the room. Just walk from, whether we're in a black box or on the stage, walk across the room. Then I ask them to skip back. And they all feel stupid when they do it. I know that. But I just want to know, are they going to put their heart and soul into skipping? Because if they're not going to do it in the audition, they're definitely not going to do it in the rehearsal. If I tell them, I need you to go deep with me in this rehearsal, they're not going to do it if they can't skip across the room for you. So it's very simple. Can you take direction in round 1? That is all I'm looking for. Round 2, we do an improv exercise that I'm sure many of you know and have seen before. I set a scene and I ask them to speak in a number only. So there's no memorization. And kids to seniors can do this. You're only allowed to say the number 7. You're only allowed to say the number 7. And in the scene, you're arguing with your spouse, right? You're having an argument, or you're arguing with your mom, and you can only say the number 7. So I want to see how they react to a partner. And we just go through the rounds, every single one. I'll do slight corrections if I need to, if I sense that someone's not quite getting it. And then I'll move on to the final round. And I'll give them a direction. Now, if we're doing a musical, I might have them sing Happy Birthday, because sometimes I don't want them to do their prepared piece. You can tell if someone has that talent and technique pretty quickly when they sing, and you can really tell when they don't. But I asked them to sing it as if they were dying dramatically, or if their heart was breaking, or if they're being annoyed. What if your tongue was freezing? I give them some direction to see how they interpret it and what they do with it. And that is it for auditions. As soon as they walk out of the room, so that group walks out of the room, I capture my audition evaluation immediately. So I don't bring anyone in for about 3 minutes, and I just sit there and I capture exactly what I saw with my 6 to 10 actors, right? And I use a ranking system and initial impressions for role fit. And I have my form that I use, and I just sit there and I type it in. It takes me about 3 to 5 minutes to go through 10 actors. And then I move on to the next group. I am just testing potential. Then for callbacks, this is where callbacks are more traditional. This is when we have our scenes ready, our sides ready. So everybody gets all scenes. They get access to all of them, and they all learn 16 bars of music if it's from a show. I focus on my leads first when it comes to callbacks, and then I work my way down in the roles, and I take my time. I would rather do 1 day of auditions and 2 days of callbacks, or 1 hour of auditions and 6 hours of callbacks, really. Because what I've done by the time I get to callbacks is filtered out all the people who just aren't a great fit. They don't quite have the potential I'm looking for. It's not right for this show. They need some work. So to me, callbacks is where I focus on my leads and I take my time. All right, tell me in the chat, is this making sense? Are you feeling like this is coming together here? Because I want to be very clear, auditions, again, it's about potential, not performance, and callbacks is where you really hone in on those roles. All right. So now, let's talk about how you evaluate your candidates and casting best practices here. So you were taking notes this whole time, right? You're constantly evaluating your candidates, updating your notes. That's why I do it digitally, so it's so easy to track. I start with my leads and I narrow down who fits in the role, not who do I like. Now I'm hoping you're already doing that, but who fits best in this role? Who saw the way, who gave me the potential, and then in the callback, who showed me what I wanted to see in that role. When I think about my audition vision statement, who meets that criteria? I mean, at a minimum, the vision statement is a minimum. And I make sure, of course, to review any tactical items. Like if we're renting a costume, can they physically fit in the costume? Do they have calendar conflicts? And you know what? I already have all of this information laid out before me because I don't have to worry about, this person is auditioning and they're not even going to be here for half the performances. I already know this information before they even step into the room through my audition sign up. That's exactly how I do it. All right, we are flying here. We are moving, y'all. I'm going to keep going. I want to talk about coming out of callbacks. How do you share those results? And how do you start building those relationships and finding a way to grow that talent base? So when you're ready to publish your cast list and prepare for rehearsal, here's what you need to make sure you have in hand to give to your cast. This is important. You need to publish that cast list via email and on your website. It needs to be public. I think that's important. You need to make sure that your cast members confirm their role. Do they agree? Are they committed to the process? You don't just give roles, you confirm roles. And you need to have them review the rehearsal calendar, complete that conflict form, and share their best contact info. I get all this information before my actors even step into the first rehearsal. I want to make sure this is all done and dusted because I don't want to spend my read-through time going through this. This is all sent via email. If it's kiddos, their parents fill it out. Totally fine. But I want this done before we walk in. So I have my cast list ready. I've got my rehearsal calendar ready, complete with conflicts and my cast contact information. Again, totally digital. Let's talk about maintaining these relationships. This is what I did that flipped the script for me in terms of growing that talent base and not really shutting down actors who had potential, but just weren't a good fit for the show. So I open myself up to actor feedback 1 week after auditions. And depending on the timeline in your school environment or your community theater or your camp, this could change a little bit, but you have to give at least 24 hours because everyone needs 24 hours to process audition results. I don't talk to anyone in those 24 hours. My my thought process is you have 24 hours to go through all the emotions of being cast or not cast. And after that time, it's time to step up and move on. So you're allowed 24 hours. You can hate me, that's fine. But after that, it's about being mature. And sometimes that has to be taught. But I allow everyone who wants, anyone who is not cast or was cast, but maybe not in the role they want, they can create an appointment with me 1 week after auditions. And I will sit down with them, or I'll talk on the phone with them, or I try to talk to them. I don't like talking to parents. I want to talk to that individual who auditioned and give them feedback on their auditions. And I have my evaluations, so I can go through and I can honestly tell them, I need you to work on your projection, on your stage presence, on taking direction, on whatever it is. Or sometimes it's just, you're fantastic. You're a fantastic actor. It just was not a great fit for this show. So that is why I keep all the emails. When an actor signs up for an audition with me, they sign up, of course, online for their audition in a form, and it saves their email. And I go through after auditions and I make sure to pick out the actors who had strong potential, just weren't a great fit for the show. And I send them a personal note and I say, hey, it just wasn't a great fit this time, but I want you to know that there's upcoming auditions and I would love to see you there. And sometimes they take me up on it, sometimes they don't, but I think it's really important to keep nurturing that talent base. And I always save all the emails of actors who sign up for an audition with me in a database for future auditions. If I'm working with a specific theater, I make sure that I give them those emails because they should be using those for their next auditions. And I have all my emails templated so that I'm ready to go. I don't have to think about, the announcements that I send out. It's all templated for me. All right. We just went through a ton. And we just scratched the surface, really, honestly, in terms of a lot of the audition things, but there's some great nuggets of things in there that I've learned. I've learned from other really fantastic directors in my life. So just to recap, I want to talk about what we just talked about. We brought back in some audition magic, and I really believe that happens through having a vision for your audition. If you want your auditions to be fun again, then you need to write that down and say, okay, my auditions will be fun. And how are you going to do that? If you hate your auditions because of the logistical mess that they are, you say, okay, I want it to be a flawless logistical process. I'm going to find the right people to help me do that. I'm going to find the volunteers. I'm going to find the stage manager, whatever it takes. You learned how to lead auditions without the painful managing. You need to make it a priority to have a team to work with you. You cannot be alone. If it's another teacher that you ask to come in, if it's a volunteer from the community, even if it's just a person who is just there during auditions and they're just moving people in and out in the room, it's so important. Have the right team for the auditions so that you can focus on the directing, because that is where your time and energy should be spent. This is why you don't need monologues to find successful and talented actors. I no longer do monologues in my auditions. If I need them to read something, I'll grab a newspaper and they can read literally a paragraph from the newspaper, and I can get a sense of how they operate on stage and if they have that presence that I'm looking for. You want to uncover potential instead, not performance. We talked about how to develop relationships with actors, even if they don't get cast. Have an opportunity for them to receive feedback. Make sure it's not immediately after the cast list is posted, because the time is emotionally charged, but give them the opportunity. It's up to them. If they really want it, they will find a way to talk to you about it, right? And maintain those relationships for future opportunities. You should always be growing and nurturing your talent base, whether that's via email, whether that's, setting up workshops and getting people to come in and growing those relationships. When I was at a school and we had a hard time getting boys to audition, we started doing workshops around public speaking. Just public speaking, because that wasn't, a theater atmosphere. So we had all these boys come in who were learning how to speak and had great presence. And then, as I was teaching them, I'd be able to talk to them and kind of, nudge them and say, hey, we have a theater audition coming up. You know how you can put some of this great speaking that you have to work is in the theater. And that is such a great conduit, right? So find ways to maintain those friendly relationships for future opportunities. Now, I know that y'all are here today because you want those amazing auditions without giving up directorial enjoyment. And I've seen this a lot actually in a lot of my LORT work, and specifically with Kenny Leon, who is here in Atlanta. He doesn't do monologues either. He just does improv exercises. I heard that he had Kerry Washington audition for American Son and just had her do like exercises with him just to flesh out this role. And I was like, okay, so if Kenny Leon's doing it, then I think I'm onto something here. Yeah. You want a really simple solution to cast effectively. Having people prepare for your auditions is not simple. You get so many questions, so many nerves. And I think it turns off a lot of people who have strong potential, but that obstacle of preparing something is just too much. You felt like you've had to stick to the way everyone auditions before, and you're ready to shake it up. I was a little nervous doing improv exercises for auditions and then doing reading sides and doing music during callbacks. But it really is the way to go. It has changed the game. So now is your time. I want to empower everyone here that you are not the only one doing it. If you sense that something's off in your auditions, follow that instinct and change it up. It's time that you experience some of that audition magic again, right? When you're in the room, it's working, it's what you want to see, and that you can work with this actor and get them to where you want to be, where that final performance is. That is where you should be focusing your time and energy on creating, right? Replace those boring, painful auditions where you hear popular, 27 times, not as much anymore. You hear the same monologues over and over again. You see, the new or young talent who is just so nervous. You give everyone kind of more of an equal playing field when auditions are open and there's not preparation that's needed. So it's your time to hold those amazing auditions that we've been talking about, and you can use exactly what we've done today, the step-by-step system. Remember, I don't have any advantages or special skills. No one really taught me this outright. I just figured out what to do, how to replicate it, and do it again and again, and it worked really well. So if I can do this, I promise you can too. I promise you can too. So, I want to introduce you to the amazing audition templates. So at Theaterish, we are all about distilling the process into templates done just for you. So it's every template from announcement to cast lists. It's from A to C. That's what I'm calling it. Every audition template from A to C. I had a Theaterish fan write in. This is Lauren. She's a middle school teacher. And she said, I just want to thank you. Companies like yours keep us organized and sane. I appreciate it more than you know. I love receiving feedback like that. That was so sweet, Lauren. This is why I do what I do in sharing these templates and sharing my process and systems. It is the way to go. So in this audition template, this is available to only the folks who are watching this webinar. This includes 15 templates, 3 bonuses, we'll talk about those, your audition prep checklist, again, everything you need from announcements to casting. So these templates, they are step-by-step with everything. They will help you prepare for your auditions, everything we talked about in preparation, deciding how you're going to do your audition setup and flow, evaluating actors in auditions and in callbacks, and sharing those cast lists and setting up feedback sessions. So these are the templates themselves. This is just part 1, preparing for amazing auditions. So preparation, we got your audition prep checklist, your audition vision statement. I walk you through step-by-step how to write that statement. You can use it again and again for every show. Your audition setup planner. How are you going to set up those auditions from top to bottom in a way that you can just take this setup that you've defined, hand it to a stage manager, hand it to that assistant stage manager that you're going to have next time. And they can just run with it. You set it up and go. Your character breakdown so that you don't get a bazillion questions about your characters. That initial rehearsal calendar. Your audition sign-up form and responses. This is this is all digital. So your sign-up form is totally done online. And your audition information sheet, which is that 101, all the information that you need to give to your auditionees, everything they need. Part 2, there's more templates in this bundle. Audition J checklist. Audition evaluation form. So that form that you were asking about in the slides, I will give you that exact evaluation form that I use. It pulls information from the sign-up sheet so that you know all the actors' names, their contact information. Are they available for performances? Are they available? Do they have conflicts with the rehearsal calendar that you shared? Are they willing to accept other roles? Some actors aren't. I'll give you the callback list template and the callback evaluation form as well. Part 3, the amazing auditions results and follow up the templates. I'm going to give you your cast list, your cast contact information form, which includes your actor agreement form, conflict calendars, and your final rehearsal calendars. That brings it all together beautifully in one bundle so you know what conflicts are, what days, what you're doing when. Everything is templated. There's examples. Now let's talk about these bonuses as well. I know that some of you are having to promote your auditions. You don't have that internal talent ready to go, ready to audition. So I'm sharing 10 ways to market your audition for free, what we've done in the past, totally free, and your audition flyer template, right? Get that audition flyer done so you can share it digitally or physically as well. And this is the fast action bonus. This is only available until the end of this webinar. This is the audition email templates. These are all my fill in the blank email templates already done. Just fill in the text for the entire audition process, from announcing your auditions to announcing your rehearsal schedule, all the way through. Audition reminders, callback announcements, cast list announcement, all of the emails that I use are already done. You just drop them in. So you can join us right now. You can purchase the button below at the buy now, and you will have all your audition prep done. So what's the investment, right? Show me the money. Having someone do this, would cost you, literally, directors, I'm not kidding, contract directors, $800 a day. That's what professional Broadway directors are charging these days. That blows my mind. If you wanted to hire me, hey, I don't come for free. $1,500, let's say. Taking a course and learning this now, that's way too much. I value all of this stuff, the years that it's taking me to put this together, but the bonuses, access just to this workshop at $200. But I want this to be accessible to everyone. So it's $29, and that is the lowest price it will ever be. So everything we do gets updated and renewed. We refresh our templates constantly. So when we launch something, what that price is the lowest that it is. So it's just $29. So if you want to purchase, if you think this would be helpful to you, all you have to do is click the buy now button, and that's right below us in the chat. You push that button, it's going to take you to the templates. You can purchase, and then you complete the checkout cart. And those templates are going to be emailed right to you. So you're going to immediately get something that says, hey, click here. You can download your audition templates. You'll have them ready to go, everything you need. So again, it's $29 today. That's it. That's all we're doing just for the folks who are on this workshop. So I know that some of you have questions. Some of the questions that I was sent in advance were, I don't know where to start with auditions. I don't even know what to do. I'm either a first-time teacher, I was kind of placed in the role of director, or, I just am not confident in how I'm managing my auditions anymore. So these audition templates will walk you through from start to finish exactly how to set that up. So it's really going to guide you through that process so that you feel confident, you know what you're doing. Maybe you run X type, a theater program, a school theater, community theater. You have your own company. Does this still work? Can I still, sign up, and will these templates work for me? Yes. They're flexible, they're malleable, they've worked for me constantly. It's kind of it's not really a one size fits all, but it's like this is the process, the audition process that works. I'm not really sure that I can do this. I'm not really sure that I'm ready for digital. And I understand, switching to digital, I literally have an iPad with me at auditions. I don't use paper anymore. Imagine not having like 500 headshots with you. So, you know, digital is the way to go. You can do it, I promise. It is not hard. It's so much simpler than you'll think, and you'll be so much more organized as well. So join us right now. Remember, those audition email templates are only available in the next 15 minutes if you purchase. I really value folks who take action and are ready to go, and I want to give you something for that. So let me know. I'm going to take some questions right now. Maggie in the chat has been setting up questions for me. So I'm going to take a look and see what we got here. Special considerations when working with kids when it comes to auditions. Yes. If you're working with folks who are under the age of 18, sometimes, up to 18, really, parents are involved, right? So you want to make it very clear in your audition process that what the role parents can have. So before I even announce if we're going to be hiring young actors or if I'm working in a school environment, I decide how much engagement do I want from parents during auditions. And I always, with very rare exception, it is a closed audition. Parents are welcome to wait outside, but they are not allowed in the audition room, period. Hard line. Why? Because, of course, kids get nervous around their parents. Sometimes they don't feel like they can really be themselves. So hard line for me, I do not let parents in. And also, when working with kids, you have to think about ability in terms of reading and ability in terms of memorization, which is why improv is such a great equalizer when working with young students, because everyone can talk, everyone can react, or at least, has the ability to perform. That's why they're there. They at least want to try. So, not having that monologue as an obstacle to audition is, you see so much more. Google Drive. Oh, the technology behind this. Great question. So all of these templates, yes, they are in Google Drive. We're moving all of the theater-ish items over to Google Drive. But you can still, if you don't have a Gmail, I would recommend you sign up for a Gmail account so you can access these kind of in their original state. But they all download as Microsoft Word or Excel or PDF documents that you can fill right in. What else do we have? Is this being recorded for later? Yeah, if you, you might be watching this later. So everyone who's signed up will get a chance to watch this replay for a limited time only. We're only keeping it up for the next few days. So I'll send you a link to this workshop if you want to share it with folks. If you want to rewatch, take some more notes. Absolutely. Yep, it's being recorded and we can share. What else we got? How soon do they need to accept their parts? Do they have a week during which they can get feedback? That's a great question in terms, okay, so you're asking, what is the turnaround for when an actor can accept their part? So I give my younger students closer to a week because there's typically parents involved, and they're sometimes a little bit slower. But when I'm working with adult actors in a community theater, you do not get more than 5 days. 5 days. That's it to accept your part. Typically 3. And I give them a hard deadline. Let me know by this date. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next role, and that's okay. How do you attract more boys? I think we talked about that a little bit. So do you attract more boys in a high school theater department? So there's kind of this bigger thing that theater is not always attractive to boys. And it's very attractive to girls. And so there's a plethora of girls in theater communities. So what I do, as I mentioned earlier, is I come at it from the angle of public speaking. So I do workshops in schools in a little more neutral environments with topics like public speaking, presentation skills. And I talk about how the skills that they learn in theater directly apply to great performances in careers, ability to communicate effectively. And I really, really work to pull those boys in. It definitely takes time. And sometimes year over year, it really changes. I've had years where it's like a plethora of boys, and I'm like, where are these guys coming from? What's the recommended amount of time to wait between the initial audition and the callbacks? Yeah, that's another great question. I don't wait. I do it all in 1 week. So I'll typically with community theater, 2 or 3 nights of auditions in the evening, because that's when rehearsals will be. So I try and mirror auditions at the same time as rehearsals, so they get used to that time period. So I'll do 2 nights really of auditions and 2 nights of callbacks. 2 nights of callbacks. So I typically will do, maybe 2 nights of auditions, maybe from 6 to 9 p.m. And then the callbacks are from 6 to 10 p.m. So I try and put the bulk of my time, or at least as much time as I can, into my callbacks. And of course, I'm only calling back maybe 4 people per lead role. So if I have, 100 people audition, 20 people audition, whatever, I limit it to about 4 people called back per role. I try not to do more than that because I really, really want to spend time with those actors in the callbacks. All right, I think we touched on all of the questions. Any more questions, you're welcome to send them my way. But again, I thank you all for being here. Take a look at those audition templates. If you have any more questions for me, just reach out. I would be happy to help. And, I'm really excited to work with you all. And I'm excited to have done this workshop about auditions because I really believe that it's about looking at potential in the audition and not performance. So thanks everyone for being here today. Again, you can always reach out to us at theaterish@gmail.com. I'm happy to answer questions that you have. And we have about 5 more minutes on this fast action bonus, those audition email templates from start to finish. So those go away in about 5 minutes. So if you're interested in buying the template package, you might as well go ahead and get those audition templates as well. So thanks everyone again for being here today. This is the first of many, many workshops that I want to do for our Theaterish audience. So if you have another topic that you want to talk about, please reach out and let me know. A lot of folks are really interested in digital presence of theater communities or theater companies. So I think that means website, social media, digital marketing. So that's in the works, to let you know. That's coming up. So thank you everyone again for being here. Wow, we topped out at just over 150 people were watching. We had almost 40 in the chat at one point. So thanks everyone. Have a fantastic day. And I can't wait to see you online. Shoot me a note anytime. Would love to hear from you and how you're doing. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.